My entire head is throbbing. What a wonderful way to start the day. I'd like to sleep in for another 6 or 12 hours, but I still have things to take care of after yesterday. First, down to the pub to talk to the gang. I drank way too much. Dear God. Jacopo, I need your help. I can't carry everyone out all by myself. Alright, I'll drag them out into the streets. Please don't shout though, my head hurts enough as it is. Thank you! I said stop shouting. Ugh. I guess I'll start with him. Morning, friends. Oh, it's the big guy from last night. Name's Requiem. Try not to forget, cause you'll be seeing a lot of me. Which reminds me, I never got your name. I'm just a trifling little flower. My name isn't important, but if you would lend us a hand, that would be lovely. A hand with what? I'm just here for the booze. Haven't you had enough? Not even close. Well, there isn't anything left. Or did you forget the two of you last night? Did you forget the two of you last night drank the whole town dry? Are just going to be plain old restaurants for at least the next few days. Oh, well, that's a crying shame. And whose fault do you think that is? How many more trips is this going to take? They're all still out like rocks. Oh, I thought they'd erected a new wall there for a second, but it's just you. Just so we're clear, I don't know where I got that ever. Just so we're clear, since there wasn't any real resolution last night, you passed out first, which means I... Hey, top of the morning to you, Jacopo. And what a beautiful morning it is. You seem to be doing quite well. What happened to the aggressively competitive Gratian from last night? I had you all wrong, Jacopo. What? I had you pegged for the stick-up-your-ass rich boy kind of fella, but you drink like a real pro. The true measure of a man is how well he holds his booze. And you proved yourself. You're one hell of a man. Sure. Psh, at least give me a hearty hail yeah, would ya? Don't tell me I was wrong about being wrong about you. I'm just not at full capacity at the moment. It's taking me a little longer than normal to process. Anywho, point is, you got my seal of approval. We helped each other out back at the Lord's Asswipes Manor, but now we're comrades, partners in crime. Hold up! I most certainly hope you do not mean that literally. What? You don't want to be partners? I never said that. You make it sound like you're planning on staying, though. I most certainly do. You're one of the Lord's slaves. You know the slaves who incited the revolt? It's not safe for you to stay here. If someone were to identify you, you'd be dead in... Life's too short to be quibbling over shit like that. Someone might be trying to kill you. It's hardly quibbling. There's a reason we had all the other slaves transported to different cities. Trust me, I know it ain't safe for me to stick around, but I want to be here when the horse finally gets what's coming. Like hell, I'm bailing after his heads on a pike. Okay then. As long as you're aware of the risks, that's your choice to make. And in that case, I'm glad to have you. The addition of such a valiant comrade should prove quite inspiring to the rest of the gang. Ha! You're damn right it will. You should have just said that right to begin with. Skip all the not safe nonsense. Besides, everything you just said applies the same to you. As far as anyone in that manner is concerned, you're a slave as much as me. And your infiltration job didn't exactly have you laying low. They'll recognize you. Fair enough. I haven't heard of any wanted posters going up yet, but you're right. It's best to remain cautious for now. Though as long as we keep to the slums, we should be relatively safe for the time being. As amusing a thought as that is, we're safer in this lawless dump than the city proper. Indeed, but the gang has eyes and ears covering the entire district. If someone who doesn't belong shows up, word will spread quickly. So if the Lord's guards trying to slip in, their cover will be blown just like that, eh? Precisely. Which isn't to say it's a good part of town, of course. We have more than our fair share of hooligans. You just have to be able to protect yourself. Which I doubt will be an issue for you. Hell yeah, bring on the pickpockets. I'll rob every last one of them blind. Maybe even literally. I'm glad he's on our side. Well, if you're going to be staying here, I should probably show you more than just our pub of choice. You'll need to find work as well. Not that that should prove any trouble. With your muscle, you can choose pretty much anything. A bodyguard, a carpenter, a metal worker, whatever you like. But first... could I ask you to help me get these dolts out of here? Or outside? Aye, aye. What do you want me to toss them? Where do you want me to toss them? Be gentle with them, if you would. They are ours for what it's worth. Good lord. Between cleaning up the pub and showing Gratian around town, there goes most of my day. The brothel's probably open by now, though through the back entrance it is. Hey, anyone home? No? No one? Not even the girl? Don't tell me she went out wandering in her condition. Oh, hey there, Jacopo. Perfect timing. Maria, the girl. Where did she go? Huh? She was here last I checked. Last you checked. You're supposed to be looking after her. Anyway, help me look for her? Yeah, I don't think that'll, excuse me? Turn around. Ugh. Where have you been? Oh yeah, that does look pretty bad, doesn't it? Yikes. I didn't even sense her approaching. I swear she just appeared there, like a ghost. And where did you get those clothes? Oh yeah, we were digging around in the dressing room and found it there. I wanted to get her into something a little cuter, but she insisted on that. I didn't even know we had closed that plant here. Girls come and go, though, so it probably belonged to someone who's not around anymore. Still, I'm shocked anyone who worked here ever wore such a boner killer. It's a cloak for pilgrimages. Huh? An outfit someone wears while on a pilgrimage. This is far, far more beautiful than any of those filthy whore rags. Oh, a pilgrimage, huh? I never would have guessed we had a girl who was into that. Yet she abandoned her spiritual journey and entered into this den of sinners. I guess. Nevertheless, I'm glad there was clothing suitable for me to wear. Yeah, talk about luck. Anyway, I've got an appointment. I'll be back. Well, hey, Maria. I get that she's difficult, but you didn't have to ditch me, damn it. It is a rather plain outfit, though. All black and brown. She'd probably blend in quite well with the darkness. Which would explain why I couldn't find her when I got here. Why are you staring at me? Well, I'm glad you found something you could wear with your brooch. Also, God, keeping a conversation going with her is like pulling teeth. Yeah, you look like you're doing a lot better than yesterday. Much more color in your cheeks. As if you can tell the difference beneath all these scars. It's an expression. I'm just saying you look much better. You could barely even sit up yesterday. You're recovering impressively quickly. I imagine it won't be long before you're back at full capacity. Yesterday... what about yesterday? Thank you for rescuing me. What? Right, that. No, don't mention it. It was nothing, really. That's not what you said last night. Oh, come on. Just let me be humble, would you? Anyway, I wasn't expecting that. I was readying myself for another argument. I also wasn't much sure how much of what happened you even remembered, with how hysterical you got. I was not hysterical. My arm begged to. My mind was clear almost the whole time. I remember everything. First slave, you, saved my life from the wicked lord. I'm not actually a slave, but, details. You took me by the arm, put me on your back, and fled from the lord's manor. That I did. I was a little hazy for some of the trip, but by the time you reached the poor quarter, my mind had cleared up almost entirely. What? My consciousness had returned by that point. Oh. You brought me to this brothel, and yes, at first I was frightened, because I believe you meant to have me become a whore. But that is the one and only instance of me last night that you could describe as hysterical. I remember everything quite well, thank you. Okay, then. Fair enough. You're right. I can't tell if she's sincere or just trying to convince herself, but she seems unusually repulsed by the idea of her losing her cool. She's not entirely right, but she's not entirely wrong either, so I'll let her have this one. In any event, you've recovered well enough to hold a conversation, which is great to see. What do you mean to do with me now? Better question, what do you want to do? Alright, well, here's an idea. If you don't have anything, you can stay here until you're all the way back on your feet. Maria's already set aside that room for you. You You want me to stay in this vile gathering place of sinners? You do realize who you're talking about, right? Those vile sinners are the ones who took you in, who agreed to look after you. They're no different than you or me, just doing what they must to get by. I am not like them. You're right, they don't look down on others for their line of work. At the very least, try to keep your callous prejudice against prostitutes to yourself while they're around, would you? Why? It is my sacred duty to spread the word of God. Indulging in carnal pleasure is a sin, no matter the reason. Prostitutes are filthy, tainted women. Jeez, all that blood. Did all that blood the Lord took cause your damn heart to shrivel up? In what world is it reasonable for you to go up to women offering you sanctuary and call them to their faces sinners? Show them some gratitude, damn it! You are the one who brought me here. I never asked them to do anything for me. Oh, fine. Whatever. If you're not opposed to staying here, then go. Get the hell out. You don't deserve their hospitality. Go off and preach the word of God and call everyone sinners. I expect someone will find you dead on the side of the road in less than a fortnight. Very well. Thank you for yesterday. And farewell. Oh, wait! Wait. Yes? Are you insane? You're not supposed to actually go. You're the one who told me to leave. I just... Ugh. Off to a great start with that 3 years of ice-breaking, Jacob. Oh. She's been through hell, you know that. I'm sorry. I take everything back. That was extremely childish of me. So please reconsider. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night knowing I chased you out. You cannot seem to make up your mind, can you? It was a heat-of-the-moment thing. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry, I don't actually want you to leave. Good lord. Oh, that is the wrong voice. Good lord. Oh, right, the ointment. Did you apply it like I told you to? No. Really? Well, in that case, I'll do it now. You need help with your back either way. You're a very curious man. Huh? Why do you say that? No reason. I'm simply saying the first thing that came to mind. Don't tell me you think I have an unscrupulous taste like Maria seems to believe. Let me make this perfectly clear. I will not lay a finger on you. You're just a child, for God's sake. Now sit down. Well, look at that. I thought I'd have to fight her on this. Is something the matter? I never told you to undress. Were you wanting to apply the ointment to my clothes, then? Good point. That wouldn't help very much, would it? God damn it, Jacopo. Calm the hell down. Or are you trying to make yourself look like a liar? She just caught me off guard, that's all. The girl quietly disrobed, then knelt down. She had been naked when I saved her from the Lord, so it wasn't like this was my first time seeing her unclothed. But that was in the middle of a revolt. I didn't exactly have time to get a good look. She was almost frighteningly scrawny, her arms barely any bigger than the bones within. Her skin was so pale I could see the blue veins running beneath it. And then of course there was the crisscrossing web of scars. Each one stood out clearly against her pale skin. The scars covered her whole body, front and back. I could hardly find a patch of skin that hadn't been desecrated. Looking at her, I was gripped with a mix of burning rage and bitter sadness, neither of which I had a source of relief for. But the most upsetting thing was how she just sat there, exposed, completely emotionless. Quite a change from how she behaved last night. Today I'm the one doing all the shouting. Almost feels like I'm looking at a lifeless puppet. I scooped up some of the ointment with my fingers and gently rubbed it across her wounded flesh. Every time my hand made contact, she shuddered, but she never recoiled or objected. Though it felt less like she was willingly accepting my aid, and more like she was simply enduring, waiting for it to be over. It was almost silence in the room, save for the cries and moaning that made its way through the halls, or walls. Sitting naked in a brothel while a strange man rubbed medicine on her. I could only imagine how unpleasant that must be, considering how devout she seemed to be. She was probably doing everything in her power to cut herself off from the whole experience. I wondered if perhaps she might one day come to realize that we were not trying to insult or demean her, and that we were simply concerned for her, that we wanted to give her a place she could feel safe. So this is all the Lord's doing? You don't have to answer if you're not comfortable. Except for my arms, yes. Someone else did your arms then? No, I cut them myself. You... I thought suicide was a sin. Is self-mutilation allowed then? I'm not sure what the rules on that are. You have a lot to live for. And that was about the extent of our conversation as I applied the ointment. I couldn't come up with any small talk, and I didn't really want to press any further about her scars or her time with the Lord. So I quietly worked, and she quietly let me do my work. By the time it was all over, I was exhausted. It felt like it had taken more out of me than the couple hours I had spent dragging unconscious drunks from the pub. When I told her I was finished, she let out a sigh of relief, the first sign of emotion I had seen from her since we began. Thank you. Oh, wait, we're not quite done. Still have to take care of your face. No, I'm fine, thank you. I beg to differ. If anything, you should be most concerned about your face. Now come on, look at me. Do I have to? Well, yeah. It'd be kinda silly to do everything but your face. I can do it myself. Sure, yeah, not happening. I'm going to finish what I started. Why can't I do it myself? Because my gut tells me you'll just slap a little on and call it done. I want to make sure it's taken care of properly. So look at me, show me your face. Fine. It was bizarre how she had so little hesitation exposing her naked body, yet vehemently resisted letting me see her face. With anyone else I knew, it would be the other way around. The wounds on her face seemed to hold much more significance to her than those on the rest of her body. When she asked me to kill her yesterday, it was immediately after seeing herself in the mirror. But if the marks on her face were that upsetting, wouldn't she want them to heal? So why was she fighting me about it? Did she have some other reason to hide her face from me? Whatever it was that drove her actions, I couldn't make any sense of it. Let me know if it stings. Relax, I won't bite. You weren't this tense when I was applying the ointment to the rest of you. Just get it over with. Alright, alright. You know, I just realized I don't know your name. Would you mind telling me? No? You won't tell me? Well, in that case, I'll just have to come up with something to call you myself. I'm serious, I'll pick the first thing that comes to mind. There's still time, you just have to tell me your name. Okay then. You had your chance. Allison, it is, because you bite just like an alley cat. I'll tell the girls here to call you that too. Please don't. Oh, finally you speak. If you're not happy with that name, tell me what to call you. You have until the count of 3, and then you're Allison for good. 1, 2, 3. Isn't your whole name, is it? So you're I can understand being a little embarrassed about that. It's not my place to talk, I know, and I don't mean any ill will, but that's a very, unfortunate name you were given. That's not my name. It's Morgana. Now that wasn't so hard, was it? It's a nice name, Morgana. I like it. Also, it reminds me of my homeland. Your homeland? Yeah. I mean, I hardly remember anything about my childhood anymore. I couldn't even tell you the name of the country. But I have these vague memories of how the language sounded. And your name, it doesn't sound like a name native to these parts. Sounds like something that would fit right in with those memories of my homeland. I'd wager a guess you probably come from the same part of the world as me. If you go back far enough, you might even find we share ancestors. Who knows? How do you like that? Feeling a little sense of kinship? The thought very much displeases me. Well, okay then. Be a grouch. I'll let it slide though. Getting your name out of you put me in a good mood. It's nice to formally make your acquaintance, Morgana. My name's Jacopo. Hey, Morgana. One day I'll show you the world. What? There's so much out there. There's so much more out there than this tiny little corner of the earth we're rotting away in. More than you can possibly imagine. I'm going to go out into the world, experience true freedom, and I'm going to bring you with me. So try to stay positive. Once you see for yourself how much bigger the world out there is, how different every region and its people are, it might change your perspective on things a bit. It might even help you forget some of the crap you've been through. Alright, now I'm done. That ended up taking pretty much all of the ointment. I'll have to go buy some more. Well, I should probably get going. Will you be alright on your own? I would much prefer it, in fact. Alright, alright. Sorry to be such a nuisance. See you again tomorrow. My whole body is all slimy. After the slave man left, I retreated to a corner of the room, sat down, and pulled my knees up to my chest. Through the walls I could hear men and women sinning, so I plugged my ears in an attempt to block out the vile noise. It was filthy here, and if I remained in this place too long, it would probably taint my soul. I needed to get out as soon as possible, but I couldn't bring myself to leave. My body refused to cooperate. Just thinking about going out there into the slums all alone sent uncontrollable shivers down my spine. I was the daughter of God. What did I have to fear? Such worldly emotions were unbefitting of a saint. I was pitiful, pathetic, and I hated it. I have nothing to fear. God will always lead his saints to where he needs her most. And as long as I continue performing miracles, people will acknowledge me as the true daughter of God. I have nothing to fear. You're a damned witch wearing a saint's skin. Will they, though? Will anyone look at me and see a saint? I can hardly see a saint in this face. The Lord and his guests, with their revulsion and their fear, that was the appropriate reaction. I was repulsive, not something to be welcomed with open arms. Saints and angels were always spoken of as beautiful, while demons and witches were spoken of as hideous. Any miracles I performed would be seen as the work of the devil, not God. But it didn't matter. It was my sacred duty to offer a helping hand to anyone in need, no matter how much persecution I suffered for it. My heart was resolute. But my head is all muddled. I can't stand this. One day I'll show you the world. And thinking about the slave man only made an even bigger mess inside my head. It wasn't all unpleasant, though. He didn't push me away because of how I looked. He treated me like an ordinary girl, not a witch, and not a saint either. And besides, I was being disrespectful. I know that. He was well within his rights to be angry. He could have let me go, but he didn't. He got angry, but he told me to stay. Put ointment on me, smiled even. A very curious man indeed. And then there was what he had said about his homeland. Just because my name reminded him of where he came from didn't mean I came from there as well. Never mind that nonsense about us sharing ancestors. I had no bloodline to trace back. My mother had conceived me without knowing a man, and my father resided in the heavens above, the Lord God. The very idea that we shared blood was absurd, and yet, what if, somewhere on this earth, there are people who share my blood, who feel what I do, who think what I think, who see the world the same as me? What if somewhere like that really does exist? That would be so very... And time flows ever onward, carrying them 2.5 years forward.